She thought she married a poor man, but when she found out who he really was, it left her speechless. Because the man she loved wasn't struggling for money, he was planning the biggest heist in history. By the way, if you haven't subscribed yet, please subscribe. It takes less than a minute. They said love is blind, and for Sophia Williams, that was true. She was the daughter of a wealthy businessman in New York, raised in luxury, never knowing what struggle even meant. But one day, she met Ethan Cross, a quiet, humble man working as a waiter in a small cafe. Ethan had nothing. No money, no fancy car, no big house. Just charm, kindness, and a smile that could disarm anyone. Against her family's wishes, Sophia married him. At first, their life was simple. A tiny apartment, cheap dinners, long walks instead of rides. Sophia thought it was pure love. But slowly, cracks began to show. Ethan was always secretive. He would leave late at night. His phone had no social media, no bank apps, nothing. Sometimes he'd disappear for hours and come back smelling like smoke and metal. Sophia thought maybe he was ashamed of being poor. Maybe he didn't want her to see his struggles. But one night, she followed him. What she discovered changed her life forever. It was 2:13 a.m. Ethan walked into an abandoned warehouse near the docks. Sophia, hidden behind a stack of crates, watched in disbelief. Inside, there weren't just random workers. There were men in masks, maps of banks, blueprints of jewelry stores, laptops tracking security cameras. And right in the middle of it all, Ethan. He wasn't poor. He was the mastermind. The plan? In 3 weeks, they would hit the Federal Reserve's gold transport, a heavily guarded convoy carrying billions in gold bars across the city. Ethan explained. Security cameras were on a 7-second loop hack. Guard rotations had been mapped down to the second. Explosives weren't needed. They had an inside man controlling the traffic lights. The escape route, an abandoned subway line leading directly under the East River. Everything was calculated. Cold. Precise. Sophia's heart pounded. But before she could run, Ethan turned to the shadows and smiled. "Bring her in," Ethan said calmly, without even turning his head. 2 masked men grabbed her arms, dragging her forward. "Ethan, what is this?" Her voice trembled. He looked at her, not like a husband, but like a man in control. "This is who I really am. I'm not poor, Sophia. I never was. Everything you saw, the waiter job, the tiny apartment, it was a cover." Sophia's eyes darted to the blueprints, the guns, the maps. You're planning a robbery?" Ethan smirked. "Not a robbery. A legacy. One job and we'll vanish. You wanted a man who could give you the world. This is how." 3 weeks later, it began. At exactly 1:47 a.m., 2 armored trucks carrying gold left the Federal Reserve. Escorts surrounded them, black SUVs, armed guards, and a helicopter circling overhead. In a hidden van nearby, Sophia sat trembling. "This is insane, Ethan. You'll get killed." Ethan gripped her hand. "No. I've been planning this for 3 years. Nothing can go wrong." Everything looked impossible to breach. But Ethan's crew was already in motion. "Now," Ethan whispered into his earpiece. At one intersection, the traffic lights suddenly glitched, all green, all at once. The convoy was forced to stop. A garbage truck accidentally broke down, blocking the rear escort vehicle. Underground, Ethan's men cut into the power grid, blacking out the entire block. In those 14 seconds of darkness, chaos erupted. Smoke grenades blinded the guards. The SUV doors were yanked open. Within seconds, the drivers of the armored trucks were replaced with Ethan's men in identical uniforms. By the time power came back on, the convoy was still moving. But it wasn't headed to the Federal Reserve vault. It was headed to the old subway tunnel. Sophia's voice shook. "You're stealing from the government." Ethan's grin was ice cold. "Not stealing. Correcting. They hoard billions while people starve. Tonight, that gold belongs to us." The trucks pulled into the abandoned subway line. The crew moved like machines, bags of gold stacking neatly, engines roaring. Sophia stepped back, her voice breaking. This isn't you, Ethan. The man I married, he wouldn't do this." Ethan turned, his face shadowed under the harsh tunnel light. The man you married was just a mask. This is the real me. Tears welled in her eyes. Then who am I to you? Just another cover? Another disguise? For the first time, Ethan hesitated. His voice softened. No, you're the only thing that's real. I did this for you. Sophia whispered. And if I can't live with it? Ethan stared at her, silent, before finally saying, then walk away. But you'll never see me again. The gold was gone. The trucks found abandoned. The FBI humiliated. But Ethan Cross? A ghost. Some said Sophia betrayed him. Others believed she escaped with him, living in paradise on stolen gold. Only one thing was certain. The world never forgot the story of the poor man, who wasn't poor at all.
Thank you so much for watching. Please like and subscribe.